Are the politics of Oklahoma changing? Well, that was the question at a panel discussion sponsored by Oklahoma Watch. Pam Pollard, the chair of the state Republican Party, faced off with Anna Langthorne, the chair of the state Democratic Party, to answer a number of questions about state government and the state's political climate. Pollster Bill Shepard also took part, and here's part of their discussion in this ONR Extra.
I'd like to ask you to make the case for keeping all of these seats we now have in Republican hands.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that question. And I think all you have to do is look back on history just a little bit and look and see the reforms that the Republicans have made throughout the state. Where were we 12 years ago before Republicans had control of our state house, our state senate, and then the governors, and then all the statewide electeds? Where were we before that? The teachers' retirement system was only funded at 46%. Now it's funded at over 71% for the teachers' retirement funds. The Democrats, whenever they would draw short on funds, they would borrow from those systems. We will not do that. Our roads and our bridges. We had over 700 deficient roads and bridges that the United States Department of Transportation was going to step in and start finding us more than what we were able to spend on our entire budget because money was taken from roads and bridges. We've dedicated funds in our 8-year transportation plan to go directly to roads and bridges. And now, do you know, we only have 250 instead of 700. There's only 250 left, and they will be fixed by the time of 2020 when the end of our plan comes out.
So please make the case to us that many more Democrats need to be elected.
I think the state of Oklahoma, literally the state of Oklahoma, makes the case for why Democrats should be elected. I am not sure that Pam and I are living in the same state. The state of our schools is in crisis. That's a fundamental fact. We may be funding teachers' retirements, but I would guess it's probably because we have fewer and fewer teachers. I'm glad to hear that we're working on criminal justice reform. I think that's something that hopefully we can address from a bipartisan perspective. But Republicans have had power over the state for nearly a decade, like you said, and I don't think that things are better. And I think most Oklahomans would tell you that their lives aren't better, that we continue to see crises in every single industry, whether we're talking about healthcare, whether we're talking about education, whether we're talking about infrastructure. Across the board, our government is failing. So I think the case to be made for Democrats is, at the very bare minimum, something has to change, and we are offering that alternative.
How are people feeling in terms of the direction of the state? Whether they feel like we're going in the right direction, the wrong direction, they have no idea, what?
We are finding that Oklahomans are about 10 points more likely to say that Oklahoma is going in the wrong direction than the United States is. And they're also about an equal amount saying that the state is worse off than it was 5 years ago.
The Republicans did not have a budget plan. The Democrats had a budget plan. Will you let the Democrats work in a bipartisan manner next in a special session to let the Democrats have a budget plan that balances the budget and actually funds core services?
Go to your representative and ask them for the results of their phone calls that come into their offices. They will tell you citizens do not want taxes raised. So therefore, we have to be responsible with the dollars that we have. That's where we're looking at. We have looked at the Democrats, and we want to work with them. Again, we offered some solutions. They said my way or the highway. They took the highway. We're in special session because of that.
Ms. Langthorne, let me ask you, what's your view on the need to raise taxes and by how much?
So first, I'd like to say there is a difference between raising taxes and not continuing to cut taxes. And that's part of the first problem with the narrative that Republicans refuse to raise taxes is they say this after they have cut taxes years and years and years in a row. So we've cut our revenue and then are surprised when there's less revenue. So yes, we need to get back to the revenue that we started with and take a hard look at the services we need. But the reality is that Oklahomans deserve certain opportunities, and that those opportunities sometimes come from having a funded government. And we have to fund government, which means we have to sometimes raise taxes, but we should look at it in a responsible way and see where those taxes can be raised so that, again, we're not hurting Oklahoma families.